Hey guys, how you doing? Doing a different style of video today. I am going to review the match between Tamworth and Eastleigh in the Vanarama National League. I'm a season ticket holder at Tamworth. I've absolutely loved going over the last few years. It's a really nice place to sort of go. There's a nice link between players and fans that you probably don't get at the clubs. There's a lot more interaction and stuff like that, and that's been a really nice point of going. I go with my mum, who is in her 70s now, and she was a Walsall fan. I was predominantly Villa growing up, and I used to go to Europe to watch sort of big games of like big derbies and stuff, and I have quite a soft spot for going to like Dortmund games. But whilst I like going to the games, I struggle to go week after week with work and stuff. And then when I moved to Tamworth, came across the Tamworth ground, which I genuinely didn't know was there, and started going and absolutely loved it. And then been a season ticket holder ever since. Think nice we do together. So yeah, watching today, it was an important game because miraculously Tamworth are in the hunt for a potential playoff place. And I mean, I'll go through that a bit more afterwards, but to say how mind-blowingly impressive that is for that group of players and Andy Peakes and staff, it you just can't really describe it. 3 seasons ago at this, well, just before this point, we were sort of struggling back up from lower table in tier 7, working our way up that league to get a sort of mid-table finish at the end of the season. We finished with some good form, and then 3 seasons later we're potentially looking, I mean, I'm talking from an optimistic point of view, but even the fact that we're talking about it at all, from going from that place 3 seasons later to potentially playoffs, to become a league club, is remarkable for a part-time club. It's so nice to see all these real big players come into the ground, big clubs. We've had many league clubs. I mean, Oldham used to be a Premier League club. Eastleigh were one I've not sort of come across during my time of going to like Walsall games, Villa games, Man City games and other teams around England. But I knew some of the players. I knew Torres Shade, who used to play for Walsall on loan. So looking at their team, they had a strong lineup out, looking back over the history, but they are in quite a poor run of form, and they came to us today. No wins in the last 4, 1 in the last 5, whereas we are in a really good run of form at the moment, undefeated in 8, I think 5 wins now out of the last 6, or 4 wins out of the last 6. Players have, the one thing at Tamworth is they've got this beautiful team unity, the relationship, the morale. From minute 1 to minute 90, they do not stop. They do not lack effort. I can't recall the last time I've seen one player not try. I mean, people have bad games, don't get me wrong, but I don't ever see bad performances through lack of effort or lack of trying. And I think that's just a testament to this atmosphere that Peakes and the staff and everyone has created together. It's just a really nice unity that you don't really see at other football clubs often. And it's just, whoever comes in, it doesn't really get affected. A lot of people have added to it, like the leadership from Hollis. Dan's a natural leader. Tom Tonks is a leader. Jazz is a leader. We've got Matt, we've got Jordan, Ben. There's so many voices in there that are positive and like influential when they're talking to each other, motivating each other. So yeah, that was nice. We had a really strong lineup out today. It was nice to see Beck in the starting 11. He's one of maybe being a little bit surprised that hasn't been playing a little bit more recently, considering his form in January. But to be honest, when the results are going as is, I'm never really going to question his team selection too much, because realistically he's getting it right and the results prove that. So my opinion on players that I prefer, I think if you're losing, sometimes you can say that, but when the results are going as well as they have done, he's got it right, and I can understand that now. He's been smart with his team selection. So the game itself, it started off, and I'd say first sort of 20-25 minutes, Eastleigh were probably putting a bit more together, passing around better, little bit more on top. It sort of evened out, but there was this simmering tension. There was a lot of stoppages, and the tiny little referee was pulling people aside, having a lot of words with people. Stop, start, stop, start. And then the match really sort of changed on the 40th minute when Quigley got sent off for Eastleigh for kicking Dan Creaney when he was on the floor. I mean, you can just see the motion of it and how Dan reacted, that he clearly did kick him. Whether how hard it is, I don't know. I wasn't super close to it, so I can't say. But you could tell there was motion in there, and realistically, it doesn't really matter how hard he kicks him. The action itself is a red card, and he has to go. And that really undid it for Eastleigh. And it must be frustrating for their fan base, because they're in such a poor run of form at the moment. They're trying to fight themselves to get into the playoffs, and players are doing petulant, silly things like that and getting sent off. But there's some sort of tension that was building in you. You could see that something was going to escalate. I can't remember if it was just before or just after. I think his name was Maguire for Eastleigh. Came over to Tonks just before he was taking a throw in, and sort of sort of pushed into Tonks a little bit. I don't know whether he needed to go down or if he just took off his balance, and Tonks went down and sort of lashed out a little bit back at Maguire. So at the time, I thought potentially that could have been a red card for Maguire. But then when Tom reacted, I was a bit like, oh God, it could go both ways, or could both get yellows. But the ref sort of just let that whole thing go with just a little word in each of the players' ears. I mean, Eastleigh at one point, if things had gone slightly different, it could have been down to 8 men, because they also had that handball shout on the edge of the box. And as the referee came over, he put his hand in his back pocket to get a red card, but whether one of the linesmen corrected him or he had a change of heart, he decided to keep it as a yellow. And that was unfortunate then, because I think it was Minash Sandire who just put the ball slightly over the bar. From the sending off, Tamworth were pretty much on top for the rest of the game. They looked in control, but until you've got the goals in the net, it really doesn't matter who's in possession, who's got what the flow of the game is, because goals win games at the end of the day. Passing was better. Cal, since he's come back in, he's been brilliant at left back. I thought Luke Fairlamb, for the first half before his unfortunate injury, he was absolutely amazing for us. The way he's developed his defensive game is just, I've been like awe-inspired with Luke this season, and I was really gutted he got injured, because he was being solid, and he could have been up there for like player of the season coming into the season. Just the effort, and every game he was just on it. But Cal's finding that form again now. He's been really unfortunate with injuries, and it's nice to see him hitting a bit of form now, finding a bit of fitness and getting through the 90 minutes okay. So that's really good. We had other positives. I mean, Kenny Diggy's coming at the back for Jordan, Jordan's a rock. Jordan's one of the best centre-backs we've had. He's athletic, strong and all that. But Kenny's just come in and just been, him and Hayden, I don't know how Hayden, whoever he plays with, they just mesh so well together. And the back four, you just don't tend to worry about. I know Jazz has had the odd slip up and mistake this season, but overall, he's had another remarkable season. Some of his performances, some of his saves. There was a game recently where he pulled out 4 or 5 saves that were like remarkable, and then had one little slipper which led to a goal. And it's such a shame for the guy, because that's what kind of you think about. But he has been, again, a really important player for us this season. Tonks must have run the length of the country today. His running for Tamworth was ridiculous. I don't know how he had the engine to keep going. Eastleigh were sort of passing, they were getting a bit frustrated with each other as the match went on. Second half, sort of, they were struggling to put much together. The forwards were getting frustrated with poor balls or balls getting cut out. And then around sort of halfway through the 53rd-ish minute, a long Tom Tunks throw-in led to a Hayden Hollis header, I think it was. Anyway, it's really hard to see how it went. And then it went in. Again, Tom Tunks' throw-ins, I mean, they're leading to so many goals. It's just remarkable, really. Yeah, he's the accuracy of it, the length and distance he gets from he doesn't look like a massively powerful guy. His arms aren't like jacked beyond all belief or whatever, but the distance he gets, it's just remarkable. And that's been a real good weapon for us. And teams obviously know about it because they'll have watched tape and stuff. Sometimes they do deal with it, but the amount of times it does lead to a goal, it's just such a useful weapon to have. And him, Munash and George, who devastatingly has been recalled to Fleetwood. Yeah, I'm really against recalls of loans. I hate it myself. I find it's very unfair if the player's doing that well for the club. I know it's the other players is owned by the club that's loaning, but it is very frustrating when he's such a pivotal player for Tamworth, and him leaving now can put a massive change in the midfield because he had the engine, he had the legs, he had the tactical nous, the positioning to win free kicks. He had so much to his game. He was just a pivotal player for us, and it's really, really sad that he's going. Again, just not a fan of it. We've seen it with other clubs this season. Stockport in in League One. Louis Barry got recalled by Villa, and Stockport sort of capitulated a little bit there. And also with my dad's club, Walsall, Nathan Lowe from Stoke. Recalled him in January because they lost their striker back to Leicester. Then, as people might have seen now, Walsall completely capitulated, and Lowe, a young 18-year-old, missed out on maybe winning a league, player of the season, top golden boot or whatever, to sit on Stoke's bench, who are fighting against relegation in the Championship. So it is a massive shame with recalls. I can see George doing really well in that league, though. I've watched quite a few Walsall games this season, and George is more than good enough to cope at that level and kick on. His engine and desire and passion, he's been one of the best loan signings I've seen. He's just remarkable. And it was a nice send-off at the end. Tom gave him a hug as he went on, and he got a nice standing ovation as he went off towards the end. Yeah, it was really sad. Because lately we've got to the position where we have lost Nathan, Chris Ray, Fletcher's gone out on loan. It was nice to see Nathan again. It was really sad that he went, but any player who goes on to get a full-time contract, you can't really begrudge them because it's the dream. They only get one chance. It's a short career. Nathan's such a nice guy as well. He really deserves it. Yeah, so moving on from the first goal. Again, it was predominantly Tamworth. There was a lot coming down at their right with McGlinchey linking up really well with Morrison and Dan, leading to the second goal, which Tom took remarkably well, through ball off Dan Creaney, who I can't speak highly enough of that guy. And then a nice one-on-one with the keeper. McGlinchey held his nerve and slotted in for 2-0. Shortly afterwards, he had a similar kind of chance, and luckily he fluffed that one a little bit, and it stayed at 2-0. There weren't very many moments of Eastleigh that were particularly worrying. They had a few attacks down the wings. They made, obviously, all their substitutions, and they changed the personnel up front, but nothing was really clicking for them. They're a bigger side than Tamworth, like tall-wise, vertically. They were quite a physical side. There was a bit of a bubbling tension throughout, but Tamworth just sort of held on. And then, yeah, clean sheet, 2-0. There wasn't really much more to the game at that point, to be fair. It was just sort of holding on, playing well, going down to the corner for the last couple of minutes. And, yeah, finished a comfortable 2-0 for Tamworth. I don't want to be biased completely, because I think if they hadn't have gone down to 10 men, I wouldn't have guaranteed that the game would have gone that same way. That killed all of the momentum Eastleigh had. Potentially, it could have gone on to be a draw or a different result if that didn't happen. So I feel that Quigley's got a lot to take on his shoulders for that, because he's really his moment of stupidity's really cost Eastleigh there. However, it's about putting the ball in the net, winning the games. Tamworth did that. McGlinchey is someone who's come on leaps and bounds over the season. He's really influential. He's good defensively, good positioning wise. Good going. He's not like a lightning quick going forward, but he's quite a sensible player, a smart footballer. When he first came, I wasn't sure, because I always like the wingers that are attacking direct. And it took me a while to really appreciate what he does, and now I see it more. He has been brilliant this season. There hasn't been really anyone that I consider has had a bad season. No, it's all been really impressive. And the one who I'd like to speak about briefly, Dan Creaney, his 103rd goal the other week in the game against Solihull. And I mean, the guy has been through, in Tier 7, he banged in 40-odd goals in that season, and he was just unplayable. You'd bring him on for 5 minutes, he'd score a hat-trick. It was just every game, just goal after goal after goal. His reading of the game, his touch, his physicality, everything in that league, that season, he was just near enough perfection most games, and he was the catalyst in getting us forward. Last season didn't really go as he'd have hoped, I don't think. I mean, he had a few injuries, he had a few off-field stuff. I'm not going to sort of divulge everything that's happened, because it's not really my place, but Dan's gone through quite a lot publicly, like injury-wise and personally-wise, and to get through what he has and to work his way back up, get even fitter, alter his game, sort of get his confidence back and his sort of happiness back. My heart broke for him after sort of he went through what he went through, and I'm just really proud of the guy for how he's come back. And this season he's been brilliant. This division's really suited him, his body style, his play style. You just can't help but be proud of the guy, to be honest. He's overcome a lot, and this season he's getting what he deserves now. He's banging in goals. I think he's 16 in the league, 5 or 6 assists. The app didn't update today with his assist, and it wasn't noted on the BBC app, which I find a bit weird, because in the comments and the write-up of the article, it said he did get the assist, but they also called him a defender. So that was great reporting there by the BBC. It was a nice moment when he got his trophy before the game. It's just something special about what Tamworth are doing. The whole FA Cup run with Tottenham, that was mind-blowing. I mean, the Huddersfield game, the Burton game, the whole Tottenham experience was miraculous. Just some of the stuff that they've managed to do as a part-time club and it's like players are doing like 9-to-5 jobs or whatever shift jobs they're doing or whatever careers they have. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them are, and they're managing to pull out these performances against a lot of players who have recently played league football, and they're at big clubs who have big stadiums and big budgets, and they're not flinching. They're winning games. They're playing sensibly. The performances they're putting on are remarkable, and something that I never really found as much at Premier League or other higher up competitions is just this pride you have of the players, and just you're in awe of what they're achieving, because it's so impressive to think that they're doing what a lot of people do and performing at that level in that league. And it's not an easy league. Anyone who followed like the Wrexham thing and the Notts County, that sort of era where it was just really difficult to get an automatic promotion, and it was really challenging to get into the playoffs because there was that many teams battling. And they had big budgets when they were going up. I mean, Wrexham spent millions, and it took them a couple of seasons to sort of go up successfully. And I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to go up, don't get me wrong, but to get where we've got I just find it so impressive. I mean, Andy Peakes, for me, looking at other clubs, I mean, I think he should be manager of the season this year, as things are. And if we do get in the playoffs, I think without question he should be. I think there's a lot of players that could be player of the season. I've really enjoyed George. And I'm really sad that he's gone. Like, personally, I'd like to thank him for his performance, his effort. He's never, ever put less than 100% in for the badge. And that's all you can really ask of players, especially loan players. It goes to show that they're going to go on and have a good career, because if they're taking their loan seriously and they're putting in that much effort, they are likely going to go on and do good things. And I really hope both George, Nathan, Chris Ray, and hopefully Fletcher as well, because he potentially might come back to fill the void of George, or we might look to get another loan in. I don't know if Ronan might extend for a couple more months and maybe stay to the end of the season. He's been smart with his loans this season. I mean, Ben Crompton's been remarkably good. To a man, the pride you have for the players, the respect you've got for them, their level of effort, their level of professionalism every week, win, lose, draw, they never change. They've still got a smile on their face. They're still trying as hard as they can. Don't get me wrong, everyone's had made mistakes from time to time. Everyone's maybe had an off day, but you can't help but root for them. You can't help but love the guys. You can't help but support them. And then when you chat to them, or where you get a chance to shake their hand, I saw George and wished him well. Again, really nice, polite guy. I mean, they've got endless times to make the kids happy at the end of the games, come over for pictures. Really just respectful, nice guys. And it's... so many of them have come up from Tier 7 to this league with us that it's just, you've got that sort of bond with them. I mean, I know Dan could have gone at various times after his goal-scoring heroics, and I'm so glad he stayed. And, I mean, I hope he continues to, because, I mean, he's just a legend of the club, isn't he, really? It was a really good day again. I think Maidenhead next away. I mean, we've got, I think 4 or 5 of the fixtures are club 16th or lower, a couple in the relegation. We've got, so fixture-wise, on paper, they're probably as good as we could have hoped for. Whether or not they go that way or other teams do us favours, I'd love to see us get into the playoffs just as an experience. If we don't get in the playoffs, though, I'll still be remarkably proud of the guys. I thought, personally, I didn't think we'd do as well as we did last season, and winning that leg was remarkable. This season, I didn't expect much at all, and to do what they've done, again, is absolutely remarkable. There's some really nice things that happen at the club. I know on their Twitter, they posted a story about that poor lad that passed, and I've seen bits of that, and those heartwarming parts of the club. The dad, heart breaks for him a lot of the time when you see what he's gone through and his strength, and I just find people like that like awe-inspiring, who go through stuff like that and just stay strong, and see the club support and all that. I think that's what makes football more than just a game, especially in like a community kind of setting. It's really nice to do these now. I've only just started YouTube, so this is probably what I'm speaking a bit more in general on the first video. As I say, I'd like to do one every sort of home game. I don't go to the away games. Just because of health stuff, it's a bit difficult for me to sort of get on those. But I hope the first one sounded all right and explained everything all right. If you got any advice or any ways of how I could structure it a bit better, or if there was anything you felt that I missed or didn't give enough detail on. The only thing I was, again, a bit disappointed with today, well, not for us, but I think Eastleigh probably found it harder to get going because they didn't have much vocal support. I think they probably brought up 20 people in their away end. It's only 2.5 hour drive, so I don't particularly think that was a massively impressive away following. I don't know if there's anything going on and they're not happy with the current form, or if there's some issue that why they didn't come, but it just seems strange when your team's going for something like the playoffs and that few people turn up, and that can't do the players much good or their confidence much good. But overall, our fans were nice, loud as always. The shed was bouncing, and again, referee Paul, we've had him before, stops the game too much, very attention seeking. He has to speak for too long, he drags things out, made a few incorrect decisions, refuses to tackle down on the stealing yards for throw-ins. Predominantly were against us for quite a few of that. He called our players back a fair few times, didn't call Eastley's back very often. But overall, with the win, those sort of things you can write off. So overall, happy with it. Hope this all went okay and anyone who listens to it enjoyed it. Just getting sort of started on YouTube. I'm currently on a bit of a mental health journey. If you ever see my bio, I've been through some stuff, and I'm just trying to get a bit of self-esteem back, get a bit of self-worth back, and just talk about things that I'm passionate about. And Tamworth is one of those things. And yeah, so come on, you lambs. Maidenhead away next Saturday, and fingers crossed, one step closer to Wembley.